The last night of a jockey, when big and small both fail. Michael Grady, Shady Grady, thinks his problem is size. Too small for the world, too big for his shame. He lives in a cramped room, suspended from racing, drowning in guilt and booze, clinging to grievances like a badge. In his mind, he is a victim of bad luck, a scapegoat for the system, a man cheated out of what was rightfully his. But in truth, his only enemy is his own projection. The alter ego enters not as a new character, but as the voice of his own split mind. It mocks, it records, it exposes every ugly recollection. This voice is the ego dressed as conscience. It tells the truth about his crimes but never offers release. It only accuses. This is why it is a double shadow, sometimes accurate, sometimes taunting, but never forgiving. Grady asks for bigness. Not honor, not integrity, not love, just big. He wants to feel respected, to tower over others, to reverse his sense of lack. And so he swells to 8, then 10 feet. The irony is cruel but perfect. The jockey's one function in the world is instantly erased. A giant cannot ride a horse. The very form he believed would save him makes him useless. This is the ego's joke. Every wish granted by form cancels itself. When Grady is small, he feels unworthy. When he is large, he feels trapped. The problem was never his height, it was his identification with height. The self-image was the prison. The jockey's problem was not 5-foot stature, it was belief in littleness at all. The alter ego points out the missed chance. He could have wished to win the derby cleanly, or perform a heroic act. But the ego never chooses symbols of content. It always reinforces form. Grady wanted to be seen, not to see. He wanted to be measured, not to measure truly. That is why his wish collapses. When the phone rings with reinstatement, he begs to be small again. Already the lesson is lost. He thinks salvation is still in the form, make me small, let me ride again. But the alter ego delivers the fatal line. Every time you won an honest race, that's when you were a giant. Right now, they just don't come any smaller. That is the truth hidden in the taunt. True size is not measured in inches, but in honesty, integrity, content of mind. Whenever Grady rode without cheating, he was already bigger than any 10-foot projection. This is a story about form versus content. The body's size was never the problem. The jockey's stature was always the perfect form for his function. His undoing was the ego's false belief, I will be happy if only I change the form. But changing the form never heals the mind. Small and big are the same trap. Duality always collapses. In A Course in Miracles, this is called confusing form and content. The ego tells us our happiness lies in rearranging appearances, more money, more power, more size. But the only real change is a shift in content, from guilt to forgiveness, from littleness to wholeness, from self-image to spirit. Grady never once stopped to ask, how do I look upon myself? His gaze was always outward, fixed on how others measured him. But the truth was inside. He was already whole. He was already enough. His stature was never the measure, his honesty was. In the end, the mirror shows him 10 feet tall, but the voice tells him he is small. And the smallness is not his height, it is his mind chained to illusion. Michael Grady, 5 feet tall in stockings and boots, 10 feet tall in his own nightmare. He asked to be big, and the wish was granted. But size, like guilt, can only grow until it crushes the dreamer who demands it. In the end, he learned too late that stature is not of the body, but of the spirit. And that the greatest jockeys, the greatest men, are measured not by height, but by honesty. A lesson posted on the betting board of a very different track, the one that runs straight through, the Twilight Zone.